Hello everybody and welcome back to a new video. I am Pat from Pat's Path Predictor. Let's go ahead and get right into this. So on Thursday, a model from the GFS went very viral. It said Atlantic hurricane in the Gulf of Mexico, May 28th, or something along those lines. And basically, this went viral, and right now I am looking at an article, and we're going to be going over all of this because I have some problems with this article, and I'm going to be outlining it all right now. So let's go ahead and dive right into this. Alright, so this is the article in question we have right here. A hurricane in the Gulf in May, not so fast. Any forecast predicting anything 2 weeks out is highly inaccurate. That's the truth right there. And basically, it is very rare that anything 2 weeks out comes into fruition. However, when it comes to this, it's not that this supposed model, which is the GFS model, had a one and done deal thing, and I'll show you what that is in just a second. So, regarding the tropics, there is nothing out right now, but if you've been on social media in the last couple of days, there's been a great deal of hype, and I did an extensive post about it. This is by Chris Franklin, because an image circulating on Thursday was shared all over the place. It shows one model run of the GFS orienting on Thursday morning around at 7 a.m. That's the 12 UTC run. I'm very well aware of this. That shows a projection on May 28th, 15 days from now, saying hurricane late May, Gulf of Mexico. That's it. No explanation behind it, and that went viral. The exact same model from Friday morning, also projected to May 28th, looks a little different. The hurricane mysteriously disappeared. We can actually look at the archives of the GFS to see if this is true or not. So let's go ahead and look at the model in question. This is for May 12th. This is the 7 a.m. run, and this is it right. This is it right here. The time at this point is May 21st, and basically this is the low right here in question right here. And I'll explain this a little later, but there has been, for the last 2 days, models consistently saying that there's going to be some tropical activity going on in the Western Caribbean. And I'm going to show you what I mean by that. So this thing develops potentially into a hurricane. It continues to go off by the 24th. The 25th of May, it kind of sits around, which hurricanes very rarely do this in the Gulf of Mexico. So the GFS here is a bit inaccurate, excuse me. And this is for May 28th, the date in question right here, and it clearly shows a hurricane right here in the Gulf of Mexico, ready to approach anywhere. Now, if we look at the 12Z or 7 a.m. from Friday, that's basically disappeared. However, if you go back on this, the exact same low. The exact same area, the exact same time, May 22nd. There is still a low right there. So the statement that says it was completely gone by the 28th is true. However, that supposed hurricane is still in the Gulf of Mexico on the 24th. Now, there is going to be some ebb and flow with the dates and everything. Models like this are highly inaccurate 2 weeks out. But one thing I want to talk to you and to explain to you is that these models are actually these models that are indicating that a tropical storm or hurricane is going to form. They've been very consistent for the last couple of days. In fact, if we can go to the 18Z on Friday, it shows you exactly that. This looks like 973 millibars right here. This is another model run. This isn't just a one and done thing right here, as this article is implying. So basically, we're looking at a hurricane with 973 millibar pressure according to the GFS. Okay, that's another model. That's just two and done. So let's go ahead and go to the next one, the 0Z Saturday. Now, this is where things get interesting, because by the 24th of May, this model, even though it has a different time, it's showing pretty much the exact same thing, that that potentially a hurricane is going to form, a tropical storm is going to form in the Caribbean Sea. Okay, let's go back a little bit. Tropical storm is potentially going to form in the Caribbean Sea. It's going to make landfall in the Yucatan Peninsula. And this is for the next few model runs, and I'll show you that exactly. And this is it moving off, and then it rapidly intensifies, according to this model, up to the Gulf Coast, and then makes landfall at around 973 millibars on the 27th. So this article right here that's saying that if the hurricane mysteriously disappeared, it's kind of true, but it also says here that the Thursday model is one run of the model and it's projecting the furthest extent of the model, which is highly inaccurate, which that is true, but this model is consistently showing something different right here. It is consistently showing that a hurricane is going to, a tropical storm is going to develop in the Caribbean Sea. It's going to become a hurricane either in the Caribbean or in the Gulf of Mexico, and it's going to make landfall somewhere in the United States. That was until recently, but the hurricane's still going to be there. Let me show you. Let's look at the 6Z from today, where basically this hurricane it starts right here. It starts in the Caribbean Sea. Actually, it starts in the Caribbean Sea. It develops and then rapidly intensifies as it gets close. It doesn't rapidly, but it intensifies as it gets close to the Yucatan Peninsula, makes landfall, and then reorganizes, becomes a hurricane, becomes potentially a powerful one at that, and then makes landfall in the Gulf of Mexico. So this model happens again, and this statement right here, looks a little different. A hurricane mysteriously disappeared. That's if you look at, this was published yesterday, and if you look at it, this latest run, right, this 6Z run, which is 2 runs from now, that statement now looks a bit more inaccurate. So once again, the models are pretty inaccurate a week after out, but the GFS has been showing something very consistent, that this thing, that we could see either a tropical storm or a hurricane at this point. So we can't rule out that this could happen, but the thing is, this is what the GFS is saying. They are saying that and they are saying this consistently, that a tropical storm and potentially a hurricane is going to develop. What they are not consistent on is the path of it, and we can look at the 12Z just to prove that. The 12Z shows a different picture right here. It shows this thing, instead of making landfall at the mouth of the Mississippi River, it shows it making landfall in the Florida Panhandle, but nevertheless, it still shows this thing developing, and it still shows this thing intensifying, although this time it does make landfall in Cuba, and then moves along the Florida coast, and then makes landfall in the Florida Panhandle. And we actually now have the latest model run, the 18Z, where it's showing a completely different thing, where at the beginning there's not much of a change. There's still a tropical storm and hurricane going to develop in the Caribbean Sea, but this in the 12Z is showing that this thing is going to stall in the Western Caribbean, stay offshore of the Yucatan, and make landfall in Cuba, and then cross through Florida. Just this time it's going to stay offshore of Florida, hit the Bahamas, and then move out then it's going to move out and hit Maine. So basically, here's what I'm seeing right here. The GFS model, which is the only major model I could find that goes out this far, has been consistently showing that a hurricane is going to develop. But what is not consistent is the path of this. So, to answer the question bluntly, is there going to be a May hurricane, and if so, where's it going to land? The first answer is possibly. There is a chance of this happening, and the models have been quite consistent on this happening. And if these models keep holding, then we are probably going to see a May hurricane. Now, I'm not saying that we're going to see that. Okay, this is just my own conjecture. But the GFS, right? The GFS is showing that we could potentially see this, and it's been quite consistent on this. The only thing they are not consistent on, which is the second answer to my question, is I don't know where this thing is going to make landfall, or if it's even going to make landfall in the United States. The GFS has been very inconsistent in the path of this, but it's been quite consistent with the intensity of it, as well as this thing developing in the first place. Like in the early stages of this thing developing, like when it's in the Caribbean Sea, for instance, it's showing almost the exact same thing. It's only when it becomes a hurricane at that point where things get a bit iffy and the path changes. This stuff happens all the time, a week and a half out. But the thing is, though, the thing I want to reiterate in this video is that this thing could happen. We just don't know where it's going to happen, and I'll keep updating you guys on that as the situation develops, because this is over a week out. Anything could change, but the models have been consistent in saying that this is going to happen. We just don't know where it's going to make landfall. That's pretty much where the uncertainty is. But with that being said, that is going to wrap up this video. This is my first tropical weather video of the year. In fact, I extensively will start extensively cover hurricane season. I start extensively covering that on June 1st, or if conditions like this warrant, I will start extensively covering it. But with that being said, that's going to wrap it up. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you got something out of this. If you get anything out of this, it's that the models are pretty uncertain on where this thing's going to make landfall. But the models have been consistent on this thing developing in the first place. So the only inconsistency we're seeing here is where it's going to make landfall. And that's where I'm going to leave you guys today. But with that being said, that's going to wrap it up. I hope you enjoyed it. Be sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you are new. It helps me out and helps me make more videos like these. The goal with this channel is to get people more engaged with weather. And when you see the potential for events like these right here, I hope that this gets you guys more engaged and I hope you keep more of a watch with extreme weather. But with that being said, guys, have a wonderful day. Stay safe.